You see those people who just seem to will get what they want. Like they set an intention and bam, it just happens.
Right.
It really makes you wonder, is there something more going on there beyond just, hard work? This whole idea of manifestation, what's really happening?
That's exactly the fascinating territory we're exploring today. We've been digging into some really compelling material that looks at the principles behind it all. Our mission really is to try and understand why it seems to click so easily for some people while others feel like they're, constantly pushing a boulder uphill,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our deep dive today is into what this source material calls the 5 secrets of manifestation. We're going to try and unpack these ideas, hopefully give you a clearer picture of the dynamics involved, kind of a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, and these 5 core concepts, as the material lays them out, are first, infinite creation, just the sheer power of the universe.
Okay.
Second, this idea that the universe is always listening. Third, a really helpful analogy involving a radio and an antenna. Ah, interesting.
Fourth, the huge impact of limiting beliefs often overlooked. And finally, the law of vibration. It's quite a holistic view we're aiming to unpack.
Okay, let's jump right into that first one, infinite creation. The source material paints a pretty massive picture here, talking about the universe holding galaxies, the seasons changing, the origin of life. It's thinking big.
It really is.
But, okay, if the universe is that powerful, why do so many of us struggle with, comparatively small goals? Is there some kind of disconnect?
That's a really crucial question. The material puts forward this idea that the universe operates under certain natural laws, and its capacity for creation is, immense, just vast.
Right.
The implication is actually quite empowering.
Yeah.
Basically, no personal goal is too big for the universe to handle, to bring into being.
Okay.
However, the first rule, as it's highlighted, is about our request, how we ask. It needs to be clear from the heart, without hesitation or doubt clouding it. If that initial signal is kind of fuzzy or hesitant, that can definitely affect the outcome. That makes total sense, like trying to order something complicated in a noisy room. Okay, so the second secret, the universe is always listening. Sounds simple enough, but I have a feeling there's more to it than just like the words we say out loud.
Oh, absolutely. The material really emphasizes that the universe isn't just listening to our words. It's tuning into our emotions, our overall energetic state, what's often called our vibrational frequency.
The feeling behind the words.
Exactly. Think of it as the underlying vibe, the feeling beneath your thoughts and spoken intentions.
Which I'm sure many listening are thinking right now leads straight to the big question. Okay, fine. I've been doing the affirmations, the visualizing, trying to stay positive. So why haven't my manifestations shown up yet?
And that's such a critical point the source tackles directly. It suggests that, techniques are useful tools, definitely. But the real core of manifestation isn't just about the techniques themselves.
It's deeper than that.
It's more about aligning with what you want on a much deeper level.
So if it's not only about what we do, it's got to be about how we're doing it, energetically speaking. Which brings us to this radio and antenna idea. Can you tune us in on that analogy?
Yeah, sure. So imagine each of us is like a radio receiver.
Okay.
And our minds, that's the antenna. Now, all the different manifestation techniques we learn, affirmations, vision boards, gratitude journals, whatever, those are like the knobs and dials on the radio, the tools we use to tune in.
Got it. Tools for tuning.
Right. And the music we end up receiving through the radio, that's the manifestation. That's the desired reality we're trying to experience.
Okay, I'm with you. And the point is, everyone has an antenna, right? We all have access to these tools or techniques in some form.
Precisely. The material argues the crucial part isn't just having the antenna, it's setting it to the right frequency. Like trying to find your favorite radio station. You've got to dial it in just right to hear the music clearly.
Okay, so let's say my mental station is just constantly broadcasting negativity, fear of failure, worry about not having enough, impatience, that nagging voice of doubt. What kind of signal am I actually sending out then? What music am I likely to get back?
Well, according to this analogy, you're essentially tuning into static, interference, noise.
Just static.
Yeah. You won't clearly receive the song, your desired manifestation. It's like trying to listen to your favorite tune through like a thick wall of buzzing and fuzz.
But okay, if I consciously work on shifting that frequency, if I start trying to broadcast, say, trust, gratitude, maybe even moments of real joy.
Then you're tuning into a much clearer signal, a more consistent one. The song of manifestation starts to come through more distinctly. It feels more within reach. The real emphasis here is on consistently staying on that positive mental and emotional frequency.
Stay tuned to the right station, basically, and the results follow.
Okay.
That's a powerful way to frame it. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about something that can seriously jam that signal: limiting beliefs.
Yes. Huge topic.
The material quotes Bob Proctor saying, "You can have everything: love, peace of mind, wealth." Which sounds amazing, right? But then the author shares this really relatable story about being 25 and just not buying it. Why was that statement so hard for them to accept?
Well, the author talks about being raised with this really deeply ingrained belief system, the idea that success is inherently difficult, that it demands huge sacrifice and often, costs you your peace of mind.
That sounds familiar.
It's a really common narrative in society, isn't it? This feeling that you can't really have it all, that there's always some big trade-off.
Yeah, that feeling you have to choose happiness or success, peace or ambition. So how did these sorts of ingrained beliefs actually block the author?
Well, these negative beliefs, they fostered this deep underlying self-doubt. So even when opportunities came along, the core conviction that success was hard and would probably ruin their inner peace, it unconsciously led to self-sabotage. That's like, driving with the parking brake on. You're trying to move forward, but something's holding you back.
Oh, that really hits home. It makes you think, doesn't it? How many of our own beliefs, maybe ones we're not even fully aware of, are acting like these hidden resistors, messing with our frequency?
Exactly. Our ingrained beliefs are like this powerful filter. They shape our thoughts, our emotions, and ultimately, the vibrational frequency we're putting out there, identifying them, questioning them, addressing them. That's a massive step in this whole process.
Okay, so we've covered the universe's creative power, how it listens to our vibe, the frequency thing, and these roadblocks of limiting beliefs. The final secret is called law of vibration is simple science.
Yeah.
Can you break that down for us in this context?
Sure. In this context, the law of vibration is really emphasizing alignment. It's about getting your thoughts, your feelings, your core beliefs, and importantly, your actions all lined up, all pointing in the same direction towards your goal.
Like rowers pulling together.
Exactly like that. A perfectly synchronized team is way more effective than individuals rowing slightly offbeat.
And what happens when we manage to achieve that kind of alignment, that inner and outer harmony?
When those elements are all singing the same tune, so to speak, the material suggests the universe starts providing what's most helpful right now to guide you.
Okay.
This often shows up as things we see as like lucky breaks, unexpected coincidences, those aha moments, synchronicities that feel just a little too perfect to be random chance.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like someone who truly believes they deserve promotion, genuinely feels excited about it, consistently puts in the effort at work, and actively looks for growth opportunities. That person is just creating a much stronger pull vibrationally for that positive career development. Things tend to line up for them.
So it's like when your inner world clicks into place, the outer world starts reflecting that coherence back at you. How does this connect back to the whole radio frequency idea?
Well, alignment basically is tuning your frequency perfectly. When your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions are all vibrating in harmony with your goal, you're sending out a super strong, super clear signal. It makes it much easier to receive the manifestation. It's like having that antenna perfectly aimed right at the station you want with no interference.
This is all really, really insightful, but I know what you're probably thinking listening to this. Okay, great theory, but how do I actually do this in my real busy life?
The practical application, yeah.
Exactly. Thankfully, the source material offers 3 practical techniques. Let's start with the first one. The whisper technique. Sounds intriguing.
Yes, this one's presented as being surprisingly simple but quite potent. It starts with just taking a few deep breaths, getting centered.
Okay.
Then you vividly visualize your goal as if it's already done, already happened. The key step then is to imagine yourself quietly whispering thank you to the universe, expressing gratitude for this outcome that's already real in your mind, just 1 to 3 times.
Whispering thank you as if it's already done. The examples given are pretty specific, like, thank you, universe, I see I got the job and my first paycheck. Why the whispering? And why frame it as already complete?
Good questions. The whispering, it's suggested, creates this feeling of intimacy, like a direct personal connection, being heard easily. And expressing gratitude in the present tense for something already achieved, that helps cultivate a feeling of certainty. It boosts your sense of worthiness, like you deserve it. Plus, it's thought to interrupt worry cycles and actually raise your overall vibrational frequency.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. Technique number 2 is called robotic 10K affirmations. That name. It sounds a bit intense, maybe even tedious.
It does sound a bit strange, doesn't it? Robotic. But the logic behind it is actually about how our subconscious mind works. The idea is to kind of bypass the conscious mind's tendency to resist affirmations, especially if you don't fully believe them yet.
Getting around the inner critic.
Exactly. Think of it as gently but persistently reprogramming your inner soundtrack.
So how does this robotic repetition actually work? What's the process?
Okay, so you pick 1 to 3 short affirmations. Really short, like under 6 words if possible. Make them impactful, catchy, rhythmic, something easy to repeat almost mindlessly.
Right.
Examples given were things like, I am a success magnet, or I am a successful doctor, or even just, I am truly happy. Something simple and direct.
Okay.
Then you just repeat them consistently for at least a minute every day to start. Maybe while you're doing something routine, like brushing your teeth, driving, washing dishes. And the goal is to gradually build up to maybe 20 minutes a day.
And the robotic part means you don't have to, pour intense emotion into it every single time, especially at the beginning.
Exactly right. It's the sheer repetition itself, even without that deep emotional connection initially, that starts to imprint these positive messages onto your subconscious.
Okay.
Over time, the idea is that the old negative beliefs start to fade, they lose their power. Your brain's default setting slowly shifts towards the positive. It interrupts those old negative loops until eventually you do start to feel the truth of the affirmations more naturally.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you just need to wear a new groove into your thinking. Okay, final technique, the reverse technique. This one is targeted, it seems, for people feeling really stuck in negativity, regret, past failures.
Yes, exactly. This technique is highlighted as being particularly helpful if you're struggling with, say, regret over something, dwelling on a past failure, going through a tough breakup, or dealing with financial stress.
Things that can really keep you looping.
Absolutely. The material points out that constantly focusing on why hasn't this happened yet, or why did that go wrong, that line of thinking actually reinforces the negative patterns. It kind of manifests more problems.
So what's the reverse move we need to make? How do we flip it?
Okay, step 1 is just awareness. Noticing the signals of negativity, that feeling of frustration, maybe restlessness, or that heavy sense of lack when you think about your goals or the past.
Recognizing the pattern.
Yes. Once you recognize it, the next really crucial step is to consciously interrupt it. Stop that thought train. This could be simple: mentally yell, stop for pee, take a really deep breath, maybe even snap your fingers or pinch yourself lightly. Something to break the momentum.
Okay, break the cycle in that moment. What happens after the interruption?
This is the core of it. You then intentionally shift your focus. You move away from what's missing or what went wrong and deliberately look for something you are genuinely grateful for right now, in this present moment.
From lack to gratitude.
Precisely. Instead of, why not yet? You actively ask, okay, what am I thankful for right now? Even small things. The technique also encourages looking for lessons or any little bits of joy you can find, even if things are tough. And importantly, letting go of needing to control every outcome.
How does asking specific questions help here?
Asking things like, okay, what is the situation teaching me? Or what's one small thing bringing me joy today? Helps redirect your mind constructively. It takes you out of victim mode and into a more empowered state.
And how does doing this reverse, stopping the negative, focusing on gratitude in the present, actually help with manifestation?
Well, by consciously stopping that resistance, that focus on lack, you start to shift your vibration. You move from a state of chasing or pushing for what you want to a state of attracting it.
More flow, less force.
Exactly. The material suggests that when you cultivate gratitude and focus on the good in the present, you become more open. You allow the universe, so to speak, to show you new paths, new possibilities that you might have completely missed while you were stuck focusing on what was wrong or missing.
Wow. Okay, so just to kind of wrap this all up, our deep dive into these secrets has really shown us, well, the universe's incredible creative power, first off. Then, the importance of asking clearly with real belief. The idea that the universe responds to our overall vibration, our feeling state, which makes alignment, that inner harmony, maybe even more crucial than just the specific techniques we use.
That's a great summary. And we also touched on how those deep limiting beliefs can be major roadblocks.
Right. Huge ones. And finally, how that law of vibration, really just highlights the need for everything, thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions, to be pulling in the same direction.
And then on the practical side, we looked at those 3 techniques you can actually try. The whisper technique for building trust and feeling heard.
Yeah, the robotic affirmations for
Yeah.
kind of gently rewriting those subconscious scripts.
Right, overcoming that resistance. And the reverse technique, a really powerful way to get unstuck from negativity and lack by shifting to gratitude in the present moment.
Some really thought-provoking stuff and some actual steps you can take away and experiment with. As we finish up here, I'm left wondering, what's maybe one limiting belief that, if you could really identify it and start to shift it, might make the biggest difference in your own ability to align your frequency and, well, manifest what you desire? Definitely some food for thought there.
Indeed it is. And, for anyone listening who wants to dive even deeper into specifically tackling those negative beliefs, the source material we looked at actually pointed towards another resource, a video with 5 specific methods for doing just that. Might be a really valuable next step if that's resonating with you.